What is going on, you guys? Steven from Herstal Tech, and today I'm bringing you guys another review. This time we're going to be taking a look at the VFC Scar L. So before we get into this review though, I just want to give a huge thanks to Fox Airsoft because they were kind enough to go ahead and send this out to me. So without them, this video basically wouldn't be possible. So that leads me to my next point. If you guys are interested in purchasing this Scar, I'll have a link in the description to Fox Airsoft where you can go ahead and purchase this gun for basically up to around $400. To be exact, I think it's like $389.99, so like 390 bucks, but I just rounded up to 400. Lastly though, if you did not know, Fox Airsoft is hosting a giveaway on their website for this VFC Scar L itself. So if you want a chance to possibly win one of these completely free, I'll also have a link in the description to that. So without further ado, let's go ahead and hop right into the review. Alright, so starting at the front of the gun here, I'm going to move around the camera. We have obviously our orange plastic flash hider, which can be removed. I think it might be a little tough though. I think it's one of those ones where it has like a metal pin in it, and then it's glued. So you're going to have to kind of maybe just rip it off or cut it with like some type of little drill or something. So it probably isn't going to be the easiest to take off, but I know it's doable. Anyways, moving on down, we do have our full metal outer barrel here, which then leads us to our full metal front iron sight here, which you can leave up just like so, or just like the rear iron sight, you can go ahead and push it down and it locks into place. So as I said, you can do it with the front one and the rear one. If you want to use some type of red dot sight and you don't want to use the iron sights, you can flip them down, or you can obviously go ahead and leave them up. So moving further down the gun, we are now getting into the rail space that you have to go ahead and mount any type of accessories that you want. So you obviously have a quad rail system here. You have one rail segment on this side. You have the same exact thing on the other side. You have a long rail segment on the bottom, and then you have one continuous super long rail system all the way down the gun, which is super nice. So you have a ton of rail space to go ahead and mount anything that you want. Alright, so now getting into basically the meat of the gun here, the upper and lower receivers here. The lower receiver is made out of a really nice strong polymer, and the upper receiver going all the way to the outer barrel is full metal. So the upper is metal, the lower is polymer. So this gun actually has a lot of functioning parts and pieces, which is super nice because that just makes the gun even more realistic. So to start off, I'm going to show you guys the charging handle. This actually has a functioning bolt catch and bolt release. So if you want, you can pull the charging handle back just like so. It locks into place. Obviously if you pull it hard, it makes like a clink sound, which is nice, but I did it nice and slow, so it didn't really make any type of noise. So when it's locked back, obviously it pulls back the dust cover and it reveals your hop up. However, I will show you guys that even more when we go ahead and flip the gun to the other side. And also though, the bolt release is right here, so if you want, you can go ahead and push this and it makes a really nice clink. Now moving down to the lower receiver here, we have our mag release, which is ambidextrous. You have basically an M4 style mag release on the other side, and then you have another mag release here if you are a lefty. Then if you move down, we do have our trigger and our trigger guard. Remember, this is all polymer. However, the trigger is metal, as well as the mag release and the bolt release. So all three of these pieces here are metal. However, when we get to the fire selector switch, that is made out of the same material for the lower receiver. So it's that same type of polymer. So when it's flipped all the way down, it is on safe. It has a little S right here. Then if you go ahead and flip it up to the middle, just like so, it has like a number 1, I believe it is, which means it's on semi-automatic. And then when you go ahead and flip it all the way up, it is now pointing to the letter A, which means automatic. So now you are on fully automatic. So you have safe, semi, and full auto. Also, I don't believe I mentioned this about the fire selector switch. This is also ambidextrous. So you have ambidextrous, mag release, and fire selector switch. The bolt release, however, is not ambidextrous. So this is the only bolt release on the gun. It's on the left side. So kind of backtracking just a little bit, I want to go to the magazine really quickly. It's just a standard M4 magazine. This is not like a Scar H where it has like Scar type mags. This is the light version, the Scar L. So it takes standard M4 style magazine. So it's really nice. So if you have any other M4s or any other guns that take M4 magazines, this gun will be compatible with them. So that is very nice. Alright, so I just want to quickly show you guys the trademarks that we do have on the gun on the upper receiver here towards basically the fire selector switch. So right above the fire selector switch, we have the FN Herstal logo, and as you guys can see, it says licensed by FN Herstal, so that is very nice. And then above that, we have FN Herstal, FN Scar L, Belgium, cal 6mm, made in Taiwan, and then like a serial number right there. So very nice realistic trademarks. So now moving right above the trademarks, we do have our rear iron sight. As I was talking about in the beginning when we were going over the front iron sight, this can also be pushed down just like so if you're going to use a red dot and you didn't want to use your iron sight. So you can go ahead, flip it up or down, and you can actually adjust it as well. So both front and rear iron sights can be adjusted. Alright, so now moving our way all the way back, we are at the stock now, and the stock has quite a few features. I believe a lot of Scars, or all Scars, have these features, but I thought I at least should go over them. So first, we're going to start off with the cheek riser here. If you want, you can go ahead and push this button just like so, and you can adjust it accordingly however you want. You could have it like in the middle there, you could have it all the way up, all the way down, whatever you like. So we have another button right below the cheek riser, which is right here, right where my finger is, and if you want, you can go ahead and push that, and then the whole stock will swivel back, and now you basically have a compact, heavy type of pistol, if you want to call it that. So yeah, you can swivel the stock all the way around if you want, and it locks into place, and then you can just pull it back and it snaps just like how it looks right there, and then everything is good to go. So if you want, you can make it compact, you can keep it as it is, whatever you want, it's totally up to you. So moving all the way to the back of the stock here, now this is where you can go ahead and adjust the length of the gun. So if you want, it has 6 different positions, the first one being here, as you guys can see, 6. And then if you want, you can go ahead and push this button down. It's like kind of like a cube or triangular, you know, polymer piece here. So if you want, go ahead and push this down like so. I'm gonna tilt the gun up just a little bit, and then you can go ahead and extend it. And if you want, you can have it all the way out, all the way in, you can have it in the middle. It's whatever you prefer. All right, so if you guys take a closer look, I don't think the angle of the camera is, you know, perfect for this. However, there is a one kind of back in there. However, this is fully extended, so there is a one there. Then we have 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Remember, you can go ahead and adjust it however you want and into each one of these positions, so you can basically have it to the length that, you know, fits you best. All right, so I went ahead and zoomed in just a little bit more and got you guys a different angle here because I want to show you guys the battery compartment that this gun offers. So if you guys can see this little pin right there, you can go ahead and push this out, pull it just like so. It's just a metal pin, and then you could remove the rubberized butt plate. So what you want to do is just pull it out just like so. Very, very simple. And there it is. So the battery space is there, and the wire is right there, and boom, that is where you store your battery. So this is the first con I have about the gun, is the battery compartment space. I honestly have no idea how people store a large Type 9.6 in here or anything other than a LiPo. This gun is LiPo ready, so I would definitely recommend using a LiPo with this gun, because not only will you get, you know, the best performance out of the gun, but also because it'll be easier for you to go ahead and store a LiPo in this stock right here, rather than, let's say, a brick Type 9.6 or a brick Type 8.4, whatever you're using. So the battery space definitely is a huge con with this gun. But as I said, if you have a LiPo, like a 3-cell LiPo that, you know, a lot of people use for their Scorpion Evos, myself included, you shouldn't really have an issue with it. But for those that are scared of LiPos, because I know there's a lot of people out there that just literally hate using LiPo batteries, they just want to stick to 9.6s, that's just what they believe in, you're definitely going to have a problem fitting your battery in this gun. So just for example here, let's say I have a battery, what you want to do is just connect the 2 Tamiya connectors just like so. Go ahead, push the LiPo battery all the way in, then just go ahead, put this piece back on just like so. It's very simple. And then go ahead and push the locking pin back into place. Alright, so I went ahead and pushed the camera back just a little bit further so I can get the whole gun in the camera frame here. I went ahead and flipped the gun over to the other side if you couldn't tell. However, I want to demonstrate again the charging handle and the bolt catch and the bolt release, all that good stuff, so I can show you guys where the hop-up is, how the dust cover slides back, all that good stuff. So I'm walking over to the gun now. So the charging handle is obviously on the other side along with the bolt release. So just go ahead and pull the charging handle back. As you can see, it locks into place, and then obviously the dust cover went ahead and went back, and now that will reveal your hop up. So if your gun is shooting a little too high or whatever, you can go ahead and tone the hop up down. If it's shooting just straight down out of the box, you can obviously wind it up a little bit to give your BB just a little bit more hop until you adjust it perfectly so your BBs are flying straight as can be. And then if you want to go ahead and release the charging handle, go ahead and push the bolt release just like so, and it makes a very nice clink sound. Alright, so now let me just talk about the performance of this SCAR, because I haven't showed you guys how this gun performs. I haven't shot it in this video. I haven't done really anything. I've just basically been going over the gun for you guys, and that's because, as I said, I've already done the performance video. I think I've mentioned it. If I didn't, it's on my channel. You can go ahead and watch it. I think I did mention it though. Anyways though, in that video, we saw some really promising results, that being with the chrono test and the accuracy test. So for the chrono test, we were seeing an average of basically 390 to 400 FPS with 0.20 gram BBs. It was super consistent. It was literally hovering around 393 and 395, and then sometimes it would go up to like 398 and 400 and stuff like that. So basically around 390 to 400. So it's very consistent in regards to FPS. However, it's also really consistent in regards to accuracy. So the gun performed amazingly. I forgot exactly how far I shot. I'm sure I shot pretty far back though. I had a shoot and see target in that video, and I shot it perfectly every single time. This gun was amazing. I actually think I mentioned in that video that it might have been the best accuracy test, you know, results wise, in any of my shooting test videos. I'm not sure if it was this gun. I will correct myself on the screen right now if I'm wrong. If there's nothing on the screen, I am correct, obviously. But yeah, so the performance of the gun, absolutely fantastic. No problems with that whatsoever. The externals of the gun, you know, the quality of the materials, the external build, all that stuff. The upper and lower receivers feel absolutely incredible. The upper being full metal, the lower being polymer, as I've stated quite a few times throughout this video. It just feels super high quality. And but you know, you're paying close to $400, so you better be getting a gun that performs as well as this thing does, along with how good this gun feels. So you know, you get the whole package here. The only thing I have a problem with this gun is the battery compartment space. That's really it. That's the only thing I don't like about this gun. However, as I said, you can maybe get around it with the LiPo battery, but you know, just one thing to keep in mind when you're going ahead and purchasing this gun. So overall, I highly recommend this gun because I personally love scars. I don't have one in my collection, so I definitely have to pick one up. And this is a top contender because this thing has everything going for it besides the battery compartment space. But remember, all scars have that, so it's not like it's just this gun. All scars have that issue. So if you enjoyed though, make sure you go ahead and smack that thumbs up button, and if you're new and you enjoyed what you just watched, go ahead and click that subscribe button as well. I would greatly appreciate it. Anyways, you guys, again, hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you all so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. But until next time, I'll see you guys later.